on the recording. Lamai ogalang absent whenever nang and you're requesting the recording, you have to let me know before you get absent, right? Mata කොහොමත් ඔයගොල්ලෝ හැමෝම inform කරන්න ඕනේ absent වෙනවා නම් මම absent වෙනවා කියලා. I don't need a reason, but I at least need to know that you are getting absent, okay? Anyways. Anyways, last day, what we did was we started chemical basis of life, which is the very first lesson, right?
Yes.
Jevindu, are you saying something?
No, madam.
Okay. It's your first day today too, right? You didn't join last week's class, neither, Jevindu?
Yes, madam.
Okay. All right. So anyways, last week we were talking about chemical basis of life and we said that if you take our earth, there are like 92 elements that we can find in the nature. From these 92 elements, 25 elements are found in the living body. Last week we are also a part of nature. Us, plants, microorganisms, api okkoma nature ke parts, right? Then we said that there are 4 common elements, the most common elements. The first one is oxygen, which is present at a percentage of 65%. Okay. Then carbon 18%, hydrogen 10%, nitrogen 3%. When the elements present? Sulfur තියෙනවා, sodium තියෙනවා, potassium තියෙනවා, phosphorus තියෙනවා, iron, magnesium, calcium, chlorine ඔක්කොම තියෙනවා කියලා අපි කිව්වා. Then we said that chemical compounds that make up living matter, we can divide them into 2. There are organic compounds and there are inorganic compounds, right? So organic compounds are carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, nucleic acids, vitamins, inorganic compounds now we said examples as water, minerals and gases. Samhara inorganic compounds carbon තිබ්බට අපි ඒගොල්ලන්ට inorganic කියලා තමයි කියන්නේ. Example carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, carbonates and bicarbonates. The organic compounds that build up living matter are called biological molecules, right? එතකොට අපි කිව්වා mainly biological molecules හතරක් තියෙනවා. There are carbohydrates, there are proteins, there are lipids and there are nucleic acids, okay? Then we started by talking about carbohydrates, right? We said carbohydrates are the most abundant organic compound on earth. Organic compound, earth එක ගොඩාක් organic compounds තියෙනවා. වැඩිපුරම තියෙන්නේ carbohydrates, right? Then these carbohydrates are produced by green plants using which process photosynthesis. ඊළඟ අපි examples කිව්වා අපි හොඳටම දන්නවා carbohydrates තියෙන food වලට examples. Then we talked about something called elemental composition. අපි කතා කරා elemental composition කියන්නේ carbohydrates වල elements මොනවාද තියෙන්නේ? There's carbon, there's hydrogen and there's oxygen. So then in carbohydrates අපි කිව්වා hydrogen to oxygen ratio එක හැම වෙලෙම තියෙන්නේ 2:1. Okay? ඊළඟට අපි කිව්වා there are 3 types of carbohydrates. What are they? Monosaccharides, disaccharides and polysaccharides, right? The monosaccharides there are glucose, fructose, galactose. Then disaccharides there are maltose, sucrose, lactose, and polysaccharides there's starch. Can't see the screen. 1 second. ළමයි මම main chat එකේ දානවා link එකක්. ඒක click කරන්න. එතකොට ඔයගොල්ලෝ whiteboard එක පේන්නේ. This is last week's whiteboard. ඊට පස්සේ මේ හැම එකටම වෙන වෙනම chemical formulas තියෙනවා. ඔක්කොම monosaccharides වල තියෙන C6H12O6. All disaccharides have C12H22O11. And all polysaccharides have C6H10O5. N කියලා කියන්නේ ඒ වගේ n number of units තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. Then we talked about monosaccharides. We said monosaccharides are the structural unit of carbohydrates. අපි කිව්වා තමයි simple sugars, properties, right? ඊළඟට අපි monosaccharides ගැන ඔක්කොම කතා කරා. And that is where we stopped last day. Neither other, let me share a new whiteboard with you. Okay. ඉන ළමයි මම මේ whiteboard මොනවාද මේ කට්ටිය ලියන්නේ? Let me send you the link of this whiteboard as well. One second. ළමයි මම main chat එකට දානවා link එකක්. You can click on that link and you can watch the see the whiteboard, right? අද අලුතෙන් join වෙච්ච වෙන කවුරු ඉන්නවා නම් මට chat box එකේ දාන්න. Okay. So today we are going to be talking about disaccharides, right? Api kiwa carbohydrates, there are three types now. First one is monosaccharides. The second one we said disaccharides. So today we are going to be talking about disaccharides. Okay. Di කියන්නේ මොකක්ද? දැන් අපි දන්නවා mono කියන්නේ එකක් කියලා. මොකද්ද di කියලා කියන්නේ? Usually what do we say di? Two. Yes. අපි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් di නැත්නම් bi වගේ prefixes use කරන්නේ two නම් දෙකක් තියෙනවා නා. Right? එතකොට disaccharide කියලා කියන්නේ ළමයි when two monosaccharides join, right? Two monosaccharides join to form a disaccharide. මෙන්න මෙහෙම තමයි වෙන්නේ. Yes, Jituli, there are notes to write. What we did write a little bit last week. Do you want to leave pages? If you want to leave pages, let me know whether you have a CR book or a normal book. I can share the note with you. Or ඉඩ තියාගන්න ඕනේ නම් මට කියන්න මොන book එකද තියෙන්නේ කියලා මම අනිත් අයගෙන් අහලා කියන්න. Okay? So, monosaccharides වල chemical formula එක මතක කවුරු කියන්න බලන්න. Who remembers the chemical formula of monosaccharide? Who remembers the chemical formula of monosaccharides? Yes, go ahead. We did this last.
CxH2OY.
CxH2OY is the common chemical formula for all carbohydrates. That is correct, but that is for all carbohydrates. I'm asking specifically for monosaccharides.
C12H22O11.
That's for disaccharides. I'm asking monosaccharides, which we did last week.
C6H2O6.
C6H12O6, huh? අපි last week note එකේ තියෙන C6H2ද? It's C6H12O6. Okay ළමයි අපි අද කොටස start කරන්න කලින් last week CR book එකක ලියපු කවුරු ඉන්නවද මට කියන්න how many pages did we write last week? Anybody having a CR book, can you all tell me? How many pages did we write last week? Anyone?
About 2 pages.
About how many, Anika?
2 pages.
2 sides, no?
No, 4 sides, 2 pages.
4 sides, that means 2 pages. So, Jituli, you have to leave 4 pages. That means two papers. Hati hatarak. Sides hatarak. 2 pages. Okay. All right. So, yes, as you all said, monosaccharides wala chemical formula ka C6H12O6. Then di kyane dekak kiyane kane. So, monosaccharides dekak join vela tamai disaccharide yak hada. So, monosaccharide kyane C6H12O6. The monosaccharides dekak join වෙනවනේ. So තව මේ වගේම monosaccharide එක join වෙනවා. Monosaccharides හැමෝගෙම ළමයි මේක තමයි formula එක. Glucose, fructose, galactose තුන් දෙනාගෙම තියෙන C6H12O6. දැන් මොකද වෙන්නේ? මේ දෙන්න join වෙලා හදනවා මෙන්න මෙහෙම. C12H22O11 plus H2O. Now look at this. Monosaccharide එකකුයි join වෙලා හදනවා මෙන්න මෙයාට අපි කියනවා disaccharide එකක්. Plus, what do you think is H2O? What do you think is H2O?
Water.
Water. It is water. So, බලන්න හරිද කියලා මේක බලමු. බලන්න මෙතන carbons 6ක් තියෙනවා. There are 6 carbons here. There are 6 carbons here. Right? So 6 plus 6, there are 12 carbons here. ඔන්න ඒක හරි. Carbons ටික balance වෙලා. Hydrogen ගත්තොත් there are 12 hydrogens here. There are 12 hydrogens here. So altogether මේ පැත්තේ 24 hydrogens තියෙනවා. මේ පැත්ත බලමු. 22 hydrogens here, 2 hydrogens here. 22 plus 2 is 24. So මේ පැත්තේ there are 24 hydrogens. So hydrogen is also balanced. Oxygen බලමු. 6 oxygens here, 6 oxygens here. That means altogether 12 oxygens. If you look at this side, 11 oxygens here, 1 oxygen here. That is also 12. So oxygen is also balanced. So this is how my two monosaccharides join to form a disaccharide. Disaccharide හදන ගමන් they also produce one water molecule. So මට මේක මෙහෙම ලියන්නත් පුළුවන්. Monosaccharides දෙකක්නේ. So monosaccharide plus monosaccharide කියන්නේ නැතුව මට කෙලින්ම කියන්න පුළුවන් two monosaccharides. Two monosaccharides join to form a disaccharide plus water. So we can write it like this as well. Up to that point, is it clear? Can you all give me a thumbs up? Newcomers, usually අපි communicate කරන chat box එකේ you can unmute and the හැමලෙම තේරුණාද වගේ අහනකොට you can just react. Okay. All right. Okay. So මේකම මම චුට්ටක් වෙනස් කරලා ලියනවා, right? So Jituli, here what happened was that, did you understand this part? Did you understand this part?
Yes, miss.
Okay. So එතනම දැන් මේක එක වගේමයි. Disaccharide එකයි water. Here also disaccharide and water. Here the only change that I did was, දැන් අපිට කියන්න පුළුවන් මෙහෙම x plus x කියන එක මට 2x කියලා ලියන්න පුළුවන් නේද?
Yes,
X plus, yes, x plus x I can write as 2x. Just like that, monosaccharide plus monosaccharide කියන්නේ monosaccharides දෙන්නෙක්නේ. So I can just write monosaccharides 2 ගේ multiply කරලා කියලා ලියන්න පුළුවන්. Okay. So that's why I put a 2 here. Instead of writing monosaccharide plus monosaccharide, I wrote 2 times monosaccharide. Just like x plus x කියන්නේ 2x වගේ. Is that clear? Jitul, is it clear? Okay. Then Sayul, is it clear? Sayul, is it clear? Okay, great. Now I'm going to make a little change. Same equation, but I'm going to make a little change. හොඳට බලා ගන්න. මේකම තමයි look at what I did there. I changed the arrow. I will explain why. C12. මේ පැත්තේ හැමම තමයි. Nothing changes. Disaccharide plus water. Nothing changes on that side. මේ පැත්තෙත් මොනවත් වෙනස් වෙන්නේ මේ arrow එක විතරයි වෙනස් වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. What this arrow means is that ළමයි දැන් අපි කියවනේ monosaccharides දෙකක් එකතු වෙලා හදනවා disaccharide එකකුයි water molecule එකකුයි. ඒකම තමයි මෙතනත් කියන්නේ. Monosaccharides දෙකක් එකතු වෙලා හදනවා disaccharide එකකුයි water molecule එකකුයි. ඒකෙම අනිත් පැත්ත වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. What does that mean?
So the letters are small.
Sorry?
The letters are small.
What do you mean letters are small? You can't see?
Yeah.
Can you try to move from your whiteboard? Wage whiteboard එකකින් zoom කරන්න බලන්න. If it's the phone, you can just zoom by touching. If it's the laptop, hari desktop එක hari මොහර computer එකේ නම් mouse එකෙන් zoom in කරලා බලන්න. Shanas, maybe you'll be able to see.
Okay, miss, it's clear now.
Okay, all right. So එතකොට මේ දැන් මේ පැත්ත තේරුණානේ monosaccharides දෙකක් එකතු වෙලා disaccharide plus water. ඒකෙම අනිත් පැත්ත වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. Which means a disaccharide plus water together can form two monosaccharides again. Okay. ඒ කියන්නේ let's say you have a certain disaccharide and you put some water to it and they will react and will give back the two monosaccharides. Two monosaccharides join and form a disaccharide plus water. Disaccharide plus water එක තුනම ආයමත් monosaccharides දෙක හදනවා. That's why ළමයි we have a two-way arrow. මේ පැත්තටත් තියෙන arrow head එක මේ පැත්තටත් තියෙනවා. That means both ways of this reaction can happen. All right? Did you all understand that?
Teacher,
Yes.
can you explain it, please?
Yes, definitely. I will explain it one more time. What this means is that දැන් අපි මෙතන කියවනේ monosaccharides දෙකක් එකතු වෙලා disaccharide plus water හදනවා. That is exactly what we wrote here as well. ඒකම තමයි මෙතනත් තියෙන්නේ. Monosaccharides දෙකක් එකතු වෙලා මේ arrowhead එකේ උඩ කොටස. It makes a disaccharide plus water. Okay. ඒක එක පැත්තක්. අනිත් පැත්තට disaccharide එකයි water එකතු වෙලා ආයෙමත් they can form the two monosaccharides. The reaction can happen both ways. If there are two monosaccharides, they will join and form a disaccharide and water. If there is disaccharide and water, they will join and form the two monosaccharides. Is it clear, Sasheli?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, I hope everyone else also found it okay and understood that. All right. Then lamai, properties of disaccharides ගත්තොත් or characteristics of disaccharides ගත්තොත් ඔයා ඔළුවට ටක් ගාලා මතක් කරගන්න ඕනේ ලේසිම example එකක් තියෙනවා. That is sugar. Usually ඔයා ගෙදර බොන white sugar or brown sugar or whatever, that is a disaccharide. So the මං කිව්වේ monosaccharides කියපු ගමන් ටක් ගාලා glucose packet එක මතක් කරගන්න කියලා. Just like that, disaccharide කියපු ගමන් quickly remember sugar, brown sugar or white sugar, right? Because brown sugar or white sugar, that is a disaccharide. What are the properties of, let's say, white sugar or brown sugar? What are the properties of sugar? What are the properties of sugar?
Sweet.
Yeah, it is sweet, definitely. What else?
Crystals.
Crystals. Unlike glucose. Now, glucose now අපිට පේන්නේ powder එකක් වගේ. One second. Sorry. So, glucose, I told you, it looks like a powder. So, when you put it under the microscope only, you will see crystals. But, if you take sugar, it is very evidently crystals. Sugar crystals, right? So, they are crystals. What can you say about water solubility of sugar? Sugar, water will dissolve another.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Apita experience තියෙනවනේ තේ හදද්දී, coffee හදද්දී or whatever, when you make like fruit juices, whatever, you dissolve sugar in water, right? So it's water soluble. So these are not just characteristics of sugar, lamai. These are characteristics of all disaccharides. Disaccharides ඔක්කොගෙම characteristics මේ වගේම තමයි. අපි monosaccharides discuss කරා වගේම තමයි I'm going to use the same table that they have given in the textbook to explain disaccharides to you. Okay. Now got මතකයිද මොනවාද disaccharides කියලා? Last week අපි ඉගෙන ගත්තනේ what disaccharides are. What are the disaccharides? 3 disaccharides.
Glucose,
Mm-hmm.
fructose,
Mm-hmm.
lactose.
Is that disaccharides?
Lactose.
Lactose is there. Okay. Maltose is there.
Ma-
And
Sucrose.
Sucrose.
sucrose. Yes, correct. So, ප්‍රශ්නයක් අහුවම හොඳට බලන්න මොකක්ද අහන්නේ කියලා. Because most of the time, even in exams, you know the answer. ගොඩක් වෙලාවට ඔයගලන් පාඩම් කරලා යනකොට you know the answer. But your problem is that sometimes you don't read the question carefully, or you just do it in a haste that you get it confused. Okay? So glucose, fructose, galactose are monosaccharides. Maltose, sucrose, lactose are disaccharides. Okay. One second. Let me get this table from the textbook to my whiteboard again. Okay. Now let's look at these disaccharides, their locations and other information. So the first disaccharide is maltose. Maltose innavalu germinating seeds wala. Have you seen germinating seeds? Do you think you have seen germinating seeds? Have you all seen germinating seeds? ඔගලන් පොඩි කාලේ කරලා තියෙනවද where you have gotten some green gram seeds? ඒ කියන්නේ මුං ඇට අරගෙන ඔයගොල්ලන් cotton ටිකක් වතුරේ soak කරලා හරි පස් ටිකක හරි or even just water you put in some green grams and let it sprout. Have you all tried that? Senudi has tried. What about others?
Yes, teacher.
Sanduru has also tried. Anika has tried. Shalani, Pramudi. Who else?
Yes. Yes, teacher.
Sasheli, yes. Anyone who has not tried that? Okay. So most of you have tried that, right? එක පොඩි කාලේ අපි කරන experiment එකක්. අන්න ඒවට කියන්නේ ළමයි අපි germinating seeds කියලා. Germinating seeds are seeds which are just sprouting. එනේ ඒගොල්ලන් පැලවෙන්න හදන seeds. අර චූටක් දැන් මෙහෙම let's say if it's a green gram seed මෙහෙම green gram seed එකක් තියෙනවා මෙන්න මෙහෙම යම් පොඩ්ඩක් sprouts ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා. This is a germinating seed. When a seed is just sprouting out, it's a germinating seed. Germinating seeds lamai thiyanwalu maltose. Okay, maltose is found in germinating seeds. Okay, what are the other facts? Union of two glucose molecules forms a maltose molecule. මම ඔයගලන්ට කිව්වා නේද ළමයි monosaccharides දෙකක් එකතු වෙලා තමයි disaccharide plus water හදන්නේ. And disaccharide plus water එකතු වෙලා ආය monosaccharides දෙක හදන්න පුළුවන්. Here, maltose is formed by two monosaccharides. Maltose is a disaccharide. It's formed from two monosaccharides. What are the two monosaccharides? Glucose plus glucose. Glucose plus glucose tamai maltose plus water hadde. Disaccharide plus water. Monosaccharide plus monosaccharide, disaccharide plus water. Ekam අනිත් පැත්තට disaccharide plus water can form the two monosaccharides. Okay. An intermediate product of starch hydrolysis. ඕගලන්ට මම කිව්වා මතකයිද last week එකේ glucose is one monosaccharide no. This is just one monosaccharide. So, one second. I'm going to show you something here, right? So glucose is a monosaccharide, right? Glucose ගොඩක් එකතු වෙලා හදනවා polysaccharides. Monosaccharides ගොඩක් එකතු වෙලා polysaccharides හදනවා. So ළමයි, actually a lot of glucose will get together and form starch. Glucose ගොඩක් එකතු වෙලා හදනවා starch. So all these glucose together, we call it starch. Okay, all these glucose together, we call it starch. Hydrolyze करना कहने के meaning का हम last week किया. What is hydrolyzing?
Breaking into pieces.
Yes, breaking into pieces. Others?
Miss, what is starch?
I will explain starch. Now, can you all give me 1 second? My connection no, it's reading outside. So can you give me a second to switch to a different Wi-Fi and come? Because it says that my connection is unstable. Give me 1 minute. Stay just like that. Lamaya, can you all hear me now? Can you all hear me and see me clearly? Can, no? If my line breaks down or if I lag, let me know. Huh? Okay. So starch. Remember, Lamai, carbohydrates, there are 3 types, right? There are monosaccharides, disaccharides, and polysaccharides, right? So starch is actually a polysaccharide. Starch is actually a polysaccharide. Okay. So hydrolysis of starch කියලා කියන්නේ දැන් මේ මුළු එකම තමයි starch ළමයි යා. Yes Nikini. We are going to break starch into smaller pieces. එතකොට last week අපි කතා කරා starch hydrolyze කරාම හැදෙනවා glucose කියලා. When starch is hydrolyzed, glucose is produced කියලා අපි last week කතා කරා. Glucose ගොඩකින් හැදිලා තියෙන්නේ. When all these glucose are broken into small pieces, you get like separate glucose molecules. හැබැයි කෙලින්ම මෙහෙම වෙන්නේ නැහැ. මේ මුළු starch එකම මුලින්ම maltose වලට කැඩෙන්නේ. Because maltose කියන්නේ glucose දෙකක් එකතු වුණාම. Okay? So before all starch, because starch is made of glucose, starch break down when the glucose වලට කැඩෙනවා. මේද හැබැයි මුලින්ම තනිකර glucose වලට කැඩෙන්නේ නැහැ. First of all, starch is broken down to maltose. Okay, maltose කියන්නේ මෙන්න මෙහෙම දෙකක් තියෙනවා. ඊළඟට maltose තමයි කැඩෙන්නේ glucose වලට. Maltose is only broken down to glucose. Like this. Okay. So glucose එකක් ඉන්නවා. Glucose දෙකක් එකතු වෙලා forms a maltose. A lot of glucose together will form starch. So when you break down starch, මුලින්ම starch කැඩෙන්නේ maltose වලට. maltose වලට කැඩිලා ඊට පස්සේ තමයි glucose වලට කැඩෙන්නේ. So when starch is hydrolyzed to glucose, a මැද හැදෙන product එකක් තමයි maltose. That's why we say an intermediate product of starch hydrolysis. Maltose is an intermediate product of starch hydrolysis. Is that clear, lamai? Can you give me a thumbs up if it's clear? Okay. Nikini, do you have a question? Okay. Then let's move on to sucrose. Remember, I told you now a few minutes ago, I told you when we say monosaccharides, tagala glucose matak karagan. Yes, Tisari. Here what I meant is that glucose godak ekatu vela thamai starch hadenne. So when you break down starch, mulimma starch kadeno maltose walata, because maltose is also glucose. Glucose dekak ekatu vela thamai maltose hadenne. So first of all, starch is broken down to maltose, and then only maltose is broken down to glucose. Okay, starch වලදී වෙන්නේ glucose ගොඩක් එකට attach වෙලා ඉන්නේ. එතකොට ඒක මුලින්ම maltose වලට තමයි කැඩෙන්නේ. Maltose means 2 glucose units. Then that maltose will break down to glucose. Is that clear, Tisari? Okay. So I told you when we say monosaccharides, quickly remember glucose. And a few minutes ago, I told you when we say disaccharides, quickly remember sugar. This is why. Our second disaccharide, sucrose, kohe the location? White and brown sugar. So we can find sucrose in white and brown sugar. Also, we can find sucrose in sugar cane and beet. Sugar cane can monada lamai. What do we call sugar cane in Sinhala? What do we call sugar cane in Sinhala? Anybody?
Gas.
Yes. Uk වලට තමයි අපි sugar cane කියලා කියන්නේ. උක් වලින් තමයි අපි සීනි හදන්නේ, right? Sugar cane use කරලා තමයි අපි sugar produce කරන්නේ. Yes. Beet, you know, beet is beetroot. Then some fruits. And then phloem sap in trees. ළමයි phloem sap in trees කියන එක තාම ඔයගොල්ලන් දන්නේ නැහැ, because that's a bit complicated. You will be learning that in grade 11. මම දැන්ට හරිම simple විදියට කියන්නම්. Plants වල දැන් අපේ නම් what is responsible for transporting things in our body? What transports things in our body? As you think? Very good, blood. Blood තමයි ළමයි අපේ body එකේ එක එක දේවල් එක එක තැන් වලට transport කරන්නේ. ඒ වගේ plants වලත් ඉන්නවා transport කරන system දෙකක්. Okay. එක system එකක් water transport කරනවා. තව system එකක් තියෙනවා plants වල food transport කරනවා. So plants වල food transport කරන system එක ඒ system එකේ තියෙන liquid එකට අපි කියනවා phloem sap කියලා. Food is transported as a liquid called phloem sap in the food transport system of plants. Plants have two systems. එකක් තියෙනවා water transport කරන, ඒක අපිට ඕනේ නැහැ දැනට. Food transport කරන system එකේ food transport කරන්නේ phloem sap විදියට. Just like blood in our body, plants have phloem sap. So phloem sap වලත් sucrose තියෙනවා. Okay. Now lamai, I told you maltose is made by glucose plus glucose. මේ අපි කිව්වේ glucose plus glucose, maltose plus water. Sucrose කියන්නේ disaccharide එකක්නේ. Sucrose හැදිලා තියෙන්නේ monosaccharides දෙකකින්. What are they? Glucose plus fructose. දැන් ඔයගොල්ලෝ මතක ඇති fructose කියන්නේ මොකක්ද කියලා, right? These are the monosaccharides that we learned. So glucose and fructose together only makes. Ali, any question? make sucrose plus water. Glucose plus fructose make sucrose plus water. So that is about sucrose. Okay. Then let's move on to lactose. Lactose තියෙන ළමයි dairy products වලට. What are the dairy products that you consume on a day-to-day basis?
Milk.
Okay, milk,
Yogurt.
yogurt,
Cheese.
Curd.
cheese. Yes. Sala, what is it?
Curd.
Curd, no? Yes. What else? Anything else? Yeah, so milk वला තියෙන එක එක ජාති නේ. You can get fresh milk or milk powder. Even in fresh milk, there's like the full fat, low fat, no fat. No fat as in zero fat milk එක එක එහෙම තියෙනවා. And then there's curd. Then there are curds වලත් එක එක ජාති තියෙනවා depending on how they produce curd. You may have seen අර කිරි හට්ටියේ තියෙන curd එක වෙනම. And then අර මේ supermarket එකේ තියෙන්නේ මේ yogurt set yogurt වගේ curd එකක් ඒවා වෙනම තියෙනවා. Then yogurt තියෙන එක එක brand එකේ. Then there's cheese, right? So likewise, there are so many dairy items. Okay? Butter. Okay? So ඒ ඔක්කොගෙම lactose තියෙනවා. Then again, I told you disaccharide is made by two monosaccharides together. Lactose හැදිලා තියෙන්නේ glucose කියන monosaccharide එකයි galactose කියන monosaccharide එකයි එකතු වෙලා. Glucose plus galactose only makes lactose plus water. Now last week කරපු note එක පොඩ්ඩක් හරි බලන් ආපු කෙනෙක් නම් tell me what is the specialty of galactose? Galactose ගැන අපි මොනවද ඉගෙන ගත්තේ? What is the specialty of galactose? Monosaccharide galactose.
They have no sweet taste.
Yes, there is no sweet taste. That's very important. හැබැයි glucose වල sweet taste එකක් තියෙනවා. Galactose වල sweet taste එකක් නැති වුණත් glucose වල sweet taste එකක් තියෙන හින්දා lactose shape එකේ sweet. Lactose is okay sweet, not very sweet but sweet. What if you remember again, if you went through last week's note, what can you say about fructose? What can you say about fructose?
It is the sweetest sugar.
Yes, it's very sweet. It's the sweetest sugar, right? Sweetest sugar, sweetest carbohydrate. Glucose is sweet. Fructose is the sweetest sugar. Then sucrose must be really sweet, no? Glucose and fructose ekatama. Sucrose must be really sweet. Maltose moderately sweet. Because the glucose is sweet. Methanol glucose then nama sweet. So maltose is moderately sweet. Here glucose is sweet. Fructose is the sweetest sugar. So sucrose is very sweet. Here glucose is sweet. Galactose is not sweet at all. So lactose ekinda godak sweet gati adui. Mokada lactose වලට පොඩ්ඩක් හරි sweet ගතියක් එන්නේ glucose ඉඳා. Since galactose doesn't have any sweet taste. Okay. The only sugar that is absent in plants. ළමයි disaccharides ගත්තහම maltose is found in plants. And germinating seeds කියන plants වල කොටසක් නේ. So maltose is found in plants. Sucrose බලන්න sugar cane, beet, fruits, phloem sap ඒ හැමතැනම sucrose තියෙනවා. හැබැයි lactose you cannot find in plants. Plants වල නෑ lactose. Okay? Not as sweet as sucrose. That's what I said earlier. Sucrose is definitely sweet because fructose is the sweetest monosaccharide. So fructose එකතු වෙලා හැදෙච්චින්ද sucrose is very sweet. But lactose actually sweet නෑ. ඔන්න බලන්න මේක. The percentage of lactose in cow's milk according to composition is 4% to 6%. Or cow's milk ගත්තොත් එහෙම cow's milk වල lactose තියෙන්නේ 4% to 6%. හැබැයි human milk ගත්තොත් human milk වල lactose තියෙනවා 6% to 7%. That's the percentage of lactose present in cow's milk and human milk. Okay. So in this part, we talked about monosaccharides, disaccharides, we talked about how disaccharides are formed, we talked about the properties of disaccharides, and then we talked about the three types of disaccharides, their locations and certain other information about these disaccharides. Is this clear to all of you?
Yes, teacher.
Yes.
Okay. Others?
Yes, teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, teacher.
Okay. All right. Then
Yes,
I
teacher.
think, okay. Then I think we should start writing. මම last week කරා වගේම තමයි ළමයි දැන් මේ table එක කෙලිම text book එකේ තියෙනවා. අපි text book එකේ තියෙන එකම අපේ notebook එකේ copy කරොත් we are wasting time. So if you remember last week I gave it as questions, right? Questions විදිහට දුන්නා. ඔයගලන් ගෙදර ගිහිල්ලා මේ table එකේ තියෙන ටික copy කරලා ඒක ලියා ගන්න කියලා. So ඒ විදිහ තමයි අපි මේ week එකෙත් කරන්නේ. No point in copying the same thing that's on the textbook, right? That's why. Okay, 1 second. Put a topic, disaccharides. Put a topic, disaccharides. Okay, put a topic, disaccharides.
Okay, Miss.
Okay. So, 1 second. Why can't I move my board? All right. Okay, now I can. Liana, point a cock. Let me write on the board with you. Then I think it would be easier. Disaccharides. Let's write a few points. Huh? Then we can save time. I will give you 3 minutes to write this. Huh? 3 minutes is enough. I told you to speed up your writing speed. 1 second, Yashit. Let me send you the link again. Check if you can see the whiteboard now. Can you see it now, Yashit? Let me know.
Miss, whiteboard only can see half.
Now? Even now?
Okay, Miss. Fine.
Now okay, no? Okay. Quickly write. Still no. What about now, Yasit? Then? Then ban how did you Yasit, let me know if you can see the whiteboard now. Because the whiteboard is pain to make is clear ban. That's why. Lamai, 1 more minute. Sorry, 2 more minutes. I'll give you, yes, I'll give you 2 more minutes. Okay, everybody done? Anybody who needs more time?
Miss, I need time a little bit.
Okay, for sure. Done?
Finish, Miss.
Okay, all right. Then, Aravaga pe questions to damu, just like we did for monosaccharides. Put number 1, maltose. Last week आपको कटे दानवा අපි ඒතර දැන් අර table එකේ තියෙන එකම අපි table එකම copy paste කරොත් there's no point, right? So I will give it as questions. So you can go home and write the answers to that using the table on the textbook. Because now I have explained everything. ඉඩ තියාගන්න උත්තරේ ලියා ගන්න, right? But writing answers, you do it when you're home. As homework. Okay, quickly write these questions. ඒවා ලියන්න ඉඩ තියාගන්න. Yes. Yes, Nikini, we need a separate book for questions. හැබැයි මේ questions නෙමෙයි. මේ ටික note එකේ part එකක්. But later, after this lesson, මං කිව්වේ හැම lesson එකකටම we are going to do a worksheet. A worksheet that is made from O-level past paper questions, then provincial questions. ඒවා පාවිච්චි කරලා මම worksheet එකක් දෙනවා. So, a worksheet එකට අදාළ answers එහෙම ලියද්දී you have to use a separate book. ඔගන්න පොත් දෙකයි ඕනේ, note එක ලියන book එකයි, questions වලට වෙන book එකයි. But මේ questions ටික ලියන්නේ notebook එකේ. This is a part of the note. Okay, quickly write. උත්තර ලියන්න ඕනේ නෑ, do it as homework, just write the questions fast.
Finish, miss.
Okay.
Finish, miss.
Okay. Others, I'll give you 2 minutes. Can you see it now, Nikki? Okay. 1 more minute. Okay. Now we are going to be talking now, you know, carbohydrates, there are 3 types: monosaccharides, which we have finished, disaccharides, which we just finished, and today we are going to talk about polysaccharides. Okay. So, lamai polysaccharides wala api tunak kata karno. Anybody who remembers these 3 names? Api last week liwa neka polysaccharides wala monada naam tunai. Anybody who remembers?
Cellulose,
cellulose, glycogen.
Good. I got the answer from several of you, and I'm also getting the answer in the chat box. Yes, good. We have starch, cellulose, and glycogen as examples for polysaccharides, right? Starch, cellulose, glycogen. ළමයි mono කියන්නේ 1 නේ. Di කියන්නේ 2. Poly කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? What does poly mean?
Large.
Yeah. Others, what do you think?
Multiple.
Like a large amount of, or many, or like multiple, or like a large number of. කියන්නේ ගොඩක් කියන එක තමයි poly කියලා කියන්නේ. Mono කියන්නේ එකයි, di කියන්නේ දෙන්නෙක්. දෙන්නෙක් කියන්නේ monosaccharides දෙකක් එකතු වෙලා. Poly means many. That means polysaccharides are made from many monosaccharides. Okay. The specialty of starch, cellulose, and glycogen, these three, is that all these three are made of glucose. Remember, monosaccharides, we learned about 3 types of monosaccharides, no? We said there's glucose, there's fructose, galactose. Have fructose, galactose වලින් නෙවෙයි හැදිලා තියෙන්නේ මේ polysaccharides ටික. All of these polysaccharides are made of a large number of glucose. Monosaccharides wala glucose. So starch is made up of a large number of glucose molecules. Cellulose is made up of a large number of glucose molecules. Glycogen is also made up of a large number of glucose molecules. Then how are they different from each other? Starch හැදලා තියෙන glucose ගොඩකින්, cellulose හැදලා තියෙන glucose ගොඩකින්, glycogen හැදලා තියෙන glucose ගොඩකින්. And starch, cellulose, glycogen, what is the difference between these three? What do you think? What could be the difference? What do you think is the difference between starch, cellulose, and glycogen? You can just take a guess.
The number of monosaccharides?
Yeah, the number of glucose, right? Okay, that's a good thing. So starch may be formed from 100 glucose, but cellulose may be formed from 200 glucose. And glycogen may be formed from 1000 glucose. They are not the real values. I'm just saying an example. So when you consider starch, cellulose, and glycogen, although all the three of them are made of glucose, they can be different by the number of glucose molecules. What else? අනිත් එක තමයි how these glucose are connected to each other. And glucose ගොඩක් එකතු වෙලානේ හැදෙන්නේ a polysaccharide, right? So this is one glucose. අර මම කලින් පෙන්නුවේ. This is one glucose. මේ වගේව ගොඩක් එකතු වෙලා, yes, it's a structure. තමයි polysaccharide එකක් හැදෙන්නේ. A large number of these are connected together to form a polysaccharide like this. Even more. එතකොට ළමයි, it's not just the number of glucose molecules, it's also how these glucose molecules are connected. සමහරට starch වල මෙහෙම එක line එකක් වගේ තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි cellulose වල branches එහෙම තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. I mean, those can be different ways how glucose molecules are connected. It's the number of glucose and how glucose are connected කියන දෙකෙන් starch, cellulose, glycogen කියන තුන් දෙනා different වෙනවා. Okay. So, starch වලට example like, you know, rice, bread. Then ඔයගොල්ලෝ දන්නවා ගෙදර palm පිටි තියෙනවා නේද? Wheat flour. Wheat flour is starch. Is starch water soluble? Is starch water soluble? Because you guys don't know cellulose and glycogen, you mostly know starch. Do you think starch is water soluble?
No.
No. Sometimes කියන්නේ dissolve වෙන්නේ නැහැ වතුරේ, හොඳට දිය වෙන්නේ නැහැ. Like glucose නැත්නම් sugar වගේ දිය වෙන්නේ නැහැ starch. හොඳම example එක palm පිටි water වල dissolve කරන්න try කරොත් එයා දිය වෙන්නේ නැහැ. Right? එයා හොඳට දිය වෙන්නේ නැහැ. What we do is we just sometimes make a thick mixture. එතන mixture එකක් හැදුනා මිසක් එයා දිය වුණා නෙවෙයි. So it doesn't dissolve in water. If starch is not dissolving in water, that means all polysaccharides don't dissolve in water. Also, lamai, if you take polysaccharides, they don't have a sweet taste. Example එක තමයි starch. So starch ගත්තොත් එහෙම සාමාන්‍යයෙන් sweet taste එකක් නෑ කියන ගොඩාක් අඩුයි. සමහර වෙලාවල විතරක් පොඩි sweet taste එකක් තියෙනවා, but otherwise sweet taste එකක් හරිම rare. Most importantly ළමයි, unlike monosaccharides and disaccharides, polysaccharides are not crystals. These are not crystals. Okay, if you remember, monosaccharides and disaccharides were crystals. However, polysaccharides are not crystals. Okay, so these are some properties of polysaccharides. Let's look at some examples. අර වගේ textbook එකේ තියෙන table එක අපි go through කරමු. Okay. First, we'll talk about cellulose. Cellulose is one of the polysaccharides. Location බලන්න. Cell wall in plant cells and in fibers. Usually ළමයි plants හැදිලා තියෙන්නේ පොඩි cells කියලා જાතියකින්. There are small plant cells. මේ හැම plant cell එකක් වටේටම තියෙනවා මේක wall එකක්. We are going to be talking about this in the very near future. But anyways, plant cells වල තියෙනවා cell wall එකක්. මේ cell wall එක හැදිලා තියෙන්නේ cellulose වලින්. Also, most of the plants have fibers. Now, kendi wage. Ogan samahata mango kana kota, have you all felt like fibers wage? Samahara mango
Yes.
padipura tiyena. Yes. Samahara mango wala adui, but still it's there. Have you all noticed? Belly kala tiyena, the belly. Anyone else? Yeah, even belly has a lot of fibers. And kendi wage ahuwenne, that's fibers. Okay, so a fibers plants වල තියෙන හැම fiber එකකම you can find cellulose. Okay, then other facts. Okay, it is not digested in the human digestive system, but it helps to avoid constipation. Lamai, if you actually think of it, right? If you take cows or cattle, like sheep or deer, what else? Rabbits, they are herbivores. Herbivores they only eat plant food. Yes, even wood apple has a lot of fibers. Yes, that's a good point. So anyways, these herbivores, the cattle, cows, hari, deer, hari, monkey, hari, egolang okkoma kanne plant food, right? ඒගොල්ලෝ ඔක්කොම කන්නේ plant food. එතකොට ඇයි ඒගොල්ලන් plant food විතරක් කන්නේ? Because now plants have a lot of cellulose ළමයි. Yeah, plants වල ගොඩාක් cellulose තියෙනවා. මේ herbivores ලගේ body එකේ they can digest cellulose to get the nutrients. But the problem is our body, we cannot digest cellulose. Okay. එතකොට මොකද වෙන්නේ? අපි කෙඳි තියෙන කෑම ගොඩක් කන්න කියන්නේ ඇයි? When you eat a lot of fibrous foods, the fiber වැඩියෙන් තියෙන food කෑවම, it is not digested in the digestive system, but it helps to avoid constipation. That means if there's any like feces, that feces is kind of like, don't try to imagine it. It can be a bit gross. But the fibers kind of entangle with the feces and helps to release it. Okay. ඒකයි ගොඩක් වෙලාවට constipation, ඒ කියන්නේ ඔයගලන්ට දවස් කියන්නේ let's say ඔයගලන් regularly defecate කරන්නේ නැත්නම් අම්මලෙම කියනවානේ මේ fibrous කෑම කන්න, belly කන්න, or like with wool, whatever, because that helps. කොළ කන්න කියන්නේ ගොඩක්, that helps because there's a lot of cellulose. That means a lot of fibers. So the feces is getting entangled in the fibers and it helps to release it. Okay. So that is very important. Cellulose ඒ අතින් බලනකොට අපිට important. හැබැයි අපේ body එකේ digest කරන්නේ නැහැ. හැබැයි ගොඩක් herbivores ලගේ bodies වල digest කරනවා. Like මං කවුද? හරක් ගත්තොත් නැත්නම් muo, deer, buffaloes, sheep, then කවුද? Monkeys, elephants, any herbivore really. Okay. The next one is starch. Now, starch is a very famous Do you have any questions, Asheli?
Teacher, sorry, is cellulose in the fibers of a fruit, or cellulose in fibers or balls of fibers?
In fibers. So cells, plant cells වල නම් cell wall එකේ තමයි තියෙන්නේ. Fibers ගත්තොත් fibers වල වෙනම cellulose ගොඩක් තියෙනවා. Okay.
Okay, thank
Okay. So, Mama, give me 1 second. Okay, Lamai. So, starch is a very famous polysaccharide, as I said previously, right? Because starch is found in almost all the grains. What are the grains? Grains from rice is a grain. Okay, hal we can a grain එකක්. Then wheat, අපි palm පිටි කියලා කන්නේ wheat flour නේ. Wheat flour හදන්නේ wheat වලින්, that is also a grain. Corn is a grain. Then if you take like chickpeas, okay, pea varga, right? Those can also be considered under grains. Then there are yams. Yams are type of like potatoes. එකක් තමයි main example of potatoes. Arthapa. Then there are sweet potatoes, manioc, right? So many different types of yams. Jack කියන්නේ මොනවද jack කියන්නේ? What is jack? Cos. Breadfruit. Breadfruit. Anyone?
you.
There. Jack කියන්නේ cos, breadfruit කියන්නේ they have a lot of starch, right? So starch කියන්නේ ළමයි නරක දෙයක් නෙවෙයි, okay? So ගොඩක් වෙලාවට now if you are like into fitness, if you work out a lot, you mostly talk about proteins. අනිත් ඔක්කොම අඩු කළ proteins ම කියලා එහෙම නැහැ. You have to obviously have carbohydrates, right? Very healthy carbohydrates. Not like unhealthy carbohydrates. ගොඩක් palm පිටි එහෙම කෑවොත් that's not good. But මේ cos, polos, they're very good. And different types of yams, they're good for your body. එතකොට, so these are food containing starch. Let's see other information about starch. The type of carbohydrate that stores in plants is starch. Lamai, මෙහෙමනේ. දැන් හිතන්න, your parents go, I don't know, you also might accompany them, but your parents go grocery shopping, right? එතකොට සතියකට දෙකකට විතර බඩු ගෙනල්ලා දානවනේ ගෙදර. So you keep a stock. You store food, right? ඒ වගේ තමයි ළමයි plants උත්. Plants, now අපිට අපේ කෑම හදාගන්න බෑ, but plants can make their own food. ඒගොල්ලන් හදන කෑම ටික ටටක් ගාලා ඉවරක් කරලා දාන්නේ නැහැ. Right? They make food and they consume some food while they leave some other food for later use. හදිස්සියේ පස්සේ හිතනකො මොකක් හරි ප්‍රශ්නයක් වුණා. හිතන්න අපිට කියනවා the last few days there was this flood situation. So what do people do? මොකක් හරි වෙච්ච ගමන් කරන්නේ ගිලා සුපර්මාකට්ස් වල ඒ තොග කඩවල වල ඔක්කොම දේ බොට්ටේ ගෙදර අරන් යනවා. අනිත් අය ගැන හිතන්නෙත් නැහැ, කවුරුවත් ගැන හිතන්නේ නැහැ. මම කාලා ඉන්නවා කියලා අපේ මටයි අපේ ගෙදරට කන්න තිබ්බොත් ඇති කියලා ඔක්කොම බඩ ටික ගෙනත් දාලා ගෙදරට. එතන අනිත් අයට කන්න විදියකුත් නැහැ, donations යවන්න විදියකුත් නැහැ. So certain areas in supermarkets that problem was there because we sent a lot of donations, but sometimes it was difficult to get the groceries. හරිද? එතකොට අපි ඒ වගේ එකතු කරනවානේ, we store no. So green plants also store. අපි තරම් නෙවෙයි, but green plants also store. කියන්නේ ඒගොල්ලන්ට සමහර කාල වැඩිපුර වැස්ස තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. නැත්නම් අවුව ගොඩාක් වැඩි කාලවල වගේ. එහෙම එක එක කාලවල තියෙන්න පුළුවන් which are like probably not very good times for them. So එතකොට now in foreign countries ළමයි ගොඩක් වෙලාවට winter කාලෙට වැඩියම plants හැදෙන්නේ නැහැ. Crop cultivations don't do that well during winter. So what people do is that summer, autumn, I don't know, spring ඒ කාලවල හැදෙන yield එක එකතු කරලා තියාගන්නවා. ඒතර winter වලදී කැම ඉවර වෙන්නේ නැහැ. Okay. So just like that, plants also store food. So plants store food as starch. Plant කැම store කරගන්නේ starch විදියට. ඇත්තටම ළමයි, if you take potato, අල කවුරු අල හාරලා තියනවද? හාරනවා දැකලා තියනවද? Anyone who has done that? Anyone who has like dug into potato that's under the ground? Nobody?
I have seen.
You have
My
seen?
mom does that.
Ah, right. Okay. Even have you all seen ginger turmeric? Your parents probably do
Yes.
that. Yes. Those are under the ground, no? ඇත්තටම ළමයි අපි මේ potato අරන් කෑවට plants potato හදන්නේ අපිට කන්න නෙවෙයි. Okay? That's how plants store their food. So potato plant එක හිතෙනවා දැන් මට unfavorable time එකක් එයි, I should store some food කියලා. එයා මොකද කරන්නේ? food ටිකක් store කරනවා potato විදියට. අපි මොකද කරන්නේ? ගිහලා potato ටික කනවා. It's not a bad thing, I'm just saying. So that's why plants store food as starch. Then glycogen. Glycogen is found in animal liver and muscles. Right? Animal liver. අපේ body එකේ liver එක තියෙන. ඔයගලන් ගොඩක් අහලා ඇති. Anyone? Did somebody say something? Okay. Anyways, you might have heard, right, අර මේ liver එකේ ප්‍රශ්න එනවා, ලෙඩ එනවා, then liver damage වෙන instances තියෙනවා. So liver එක තියෙන අපේ බඩට ටිකක් උඩින්, stomach එකට උඩින්, there is an organ called liver. We are going to be talking a lot about these body organs in grade level. Okay. So liver is a very important organ ළමයා. අපි සිංහලෙන් කියන්නේ ආමාශය stomach no අක්මාවනේ. Akmava is liver. Okay. And also glycogen is found in muscles. ඒ කියන්නේ අපේ මේ muscles කියන්නේ මේ gym එකේ ගිහලා හදාගන්න muscles නෙවෙයි. We all have muscles no? Right? So muscles and liver එකේ තමයි ගොඩක්ම glycogen ඉන්නේ. අපේ body එකේත් ළමයි කියන්නේ up to a certain extent food store වෙනවා. අපි කන කෑම වලින් food store වෙනවා. So that is why, how long do you think a person can survive without eating? How long do you think a person can survive without eating?
2-3 days.
Okay. Others, what do you all think?
1 week.
Mm-hmm. So it actually depends on the immunity or the tolerance of that person, but generally 7 days වගේ ඉන්න පුළුවන්. How? I mean, we need 3 meals a day. අපිට 3 meals නෙවෙයි, අපි තමයි 4 meals, 5 meals උත් කනවා. සමහර කට්ටිය නම් මම දන්නවා 2 meals උත් කන්න බොහොම අමාරුයි, because I have 2 younger sisters. One of them don't eat at all, the other one eats a lot. So anyways, අපි කන කෑම වලින්, if the food that we eat is too much, අපිට ඒ වෙලේට අපිට එච්චර ඕන නැත්නම් ඒක ටික store කරනවා. Store කරන්නේ glycogen විදියට. Okay. So that is about polysaccharides. There are 3 types of polysaccharides: cellulose, starch, glycogen. All of these 3 types are formed from glucose, but they are different by the number of glucose and how they are connected. And again, polysaccharides are not soluble in water and they are not crystals. Okay. Then polysaccharides gattahama, cellulose is found in cell wall of plant cells and in fibers, and we said our body, the human digestive system, we cannot digest them, but it helps to prevent constipation. If you take starch, starch is found in grains, yams, jack, breadfruit, right? And starch is the carbohydrate that plants store. Glycogen is found in animal liver and muscles, and this is the carbohydrate that animals store in their body. Okay? All clear, Lamai? Shall we start writing? Others? You can give me a thumbs up if it's clear. Others, Lamai? Anika, Inuka, Jituli, Kushit. Then who else? Anita, como que हुआ था? Jituli, do you have a question? No.
No, miss.
Okay. Okay. All right. Then, Lamai, let's start writing. Put a topic, polysaccharides. Put a topic, polysaccharides. हाँ मैं मेरे एक मिनट लिया ना then I will write the rest of it, otherwise I can't move the board now. Quickly write this, make it faster. Leave space for the answers. You don't have to write the answers now. Done? Okay. I think I didn't give you enough time. No, I'm sorry. Keep writing.
Done.
Okay, Lama, then I will scroll this down a bit and I will add the rest of the note. Rest of the note can add a calling wage, nothing special. Let me quickly write this. Make a very well and 2 minutes. Quickly write.
Done, teacher.
Others done? One more minute. Okay. Now, why do you think carbohydrates are important? Ekak tamay lamai.
Energy.
Yeah, very good. So, a very practical instance for this would be then godak ayat lamai science igana gaddi api puthe tiyente katapadan karna. That's what a lot of y'all do. But just by hearting whatever's on the textbook will not give you good grades. Okay? කටපාඩම් කරා කියලා ලකුණු හම්බ වෙන්නේ නැහැ. කටපාඩම් කරලා ඔයගලන්ට term test survive වෙන්න පුළුවන් වෙයි, but you can't survive O levels. Okay? So ඒකින්ද හැම වෙලෙම කටපාඩම් කරන්න try කරන්න. Always try to think of it using real life examples. Okay? So you say carbohydrates give energy. A very good example would be, do we remember that when we like go for the sports meet, heats, athletic, we just not like we can මම නම් sports කරපු කෙනෙකුත් නෙවෙයි කරන කෙනෙකුත් නෙවෙයි, but I'm pretty sure that there are some of y'all who do sports. ඒ කියන්නේ මේ heat events එහෙම කරන කට්ටියම especially. Y'all like as an instant energy boost you have glucose, no? As an instant energy boost you consume glucose. Why? Because glucose will give you instant energy. And what is glucose? Glucose is a carbohydrate, right? Glucose can be monosaccharide. That means it's a carbohydrate. And glucose will give you energy instantly. That is just one example. When I eat food, mostly I eat starch food, right? Starch food, you know, starch is made up of a lot of glucose. Glycogen is made up of a lot of glucose. And in my digestive system, these will be digested and glucose will be released. And glucose will be used by my body to produce energy. So a very important point or a very important function of carbohydrates is producing energy. Okay? It's very, very important. ඒ කියන්නේ ඔයගලගේ බොඩි එකට එනර්ජි ඕන වෙච්ච ගමන් මුලින්ම යන්නේ carbohydrates ගාව. So carbohydrates is the main source of energy. Okay. Then what else? Carbohydrates is also used as a storage compound. What is storage compound? Remember when we were talking about starch and glycogen, starch is the carbohydrate that is stored in plants. Glycogen can animals store in a carbohydrate. ඒ කියන්නේ starch glycogen වගේම store වෙනවානේ. අපේ body එකේ නැත්නම් plant එකේ body එකේ store වෙනවා. So starch and glycogen are what? Carbohydrates. Therefore, carbohydrates are also good storage compounds. Then, as a structural component, as a structural component, that means, Lamai, a very good example is, do you remember when we talked about cellulose? Api kiwa cellulose in a plant ke cell wall leke. Right? Plant ke cell wall leke structure ka hadane cellulose. Cellulose is responsible for making that plant cell wall structure. Therefore, cellulose can be the carbohydrate. Therefore, carbohydrates are important as a structural component. An example is plant cell wall. Okay. Then also, Lamai, there is another importance of carbohydrates. Constituent of nucleic acids. Make Lamai, ma ugalanta damn explain karane na. Give me 1 second. Give me a second, Lamaya. My laptop is about to die. Okay. So, as a constituent of nucleic acid, you might wonder, what are nucleic acids? What does this mean? But I will not be explaining that to you yet. ඉස්සරහට probably today පුළුවන් වුණොත් අපි explain කරමු, නැත්නම් next day තමයි මම මේ point එක explain කරන්නේ. ඒක දැන් explain කරන්නේ නැහැ. So these are the importances or functions of carbohydrates. Is that clear, Lamai? Anybody who has any questions? Okay. For the topic, significance of carbohydrates. And mame liyana tika liya. I'm gonna write some examples at the front. එතකොට ඔයගොල්ලන්ට මතක හිටිනවනේ වැඩිපුර, right? Okay, quickly write. 2 minutes. Okay, ළමයි. I hope everybody's done. Anybody who needs more time?
Yes, madam.
Okay. All right, definitely. I give you 2 more minutes, make it fast. I'm sorry for rushing, huh? Okay. Please do. Yes, I'll give you 2 more minutes. I'm sorry for rushing. I'm always just very used to speeding things up. එක මම අර දැන් grade 10 අලුතෙන් grade 11 යන අයටත් I gave them a lecture about how important and precious time is and how fast you guys need to be. You guys are just starting out, so don't worry about it too much. But as we go, your speed is something that we have to improve. Okay, I'll give you 1 more minute.
Done, teacher.
All right. Okay. So we are going to be talking about some tests that we can do to identify glucose maybe, sucrose maybe, starch maybe, right? So දැන් හිතන්න ළමයි, you are given a solution. එම test tube එකක් දෙනවා. මේකෙන් මෙන්න මෙහෙම එක solution එකක් තියෙනවා. Then you are also given another test tube with another solution. මේ දෙකෙන් එකක් water, එකක් glucose. Glucose වතුර දිය වෙනවනේ. So එකක් just water. Let's say one of these is water, one of these is glucose dissolved in water. Ekak just plain water, the other one is glucose dissolved in water. And I'm going to ask you, lamai, main test tubes deka, let's call them A and B. One of these test tubes contains just water. The other one contains glucose mixed with water. Can you all identify which one is water and which one is glucose with water? So how would you do it? Okay, this is water, this is glucose plus water. But scientifically, we have an activity to show that glucose තියනවා කෑම මොකක් හරි කෑමක glucose තියනවාද කියලා බලන්න අපිට activity එකක් තියෙනවා, a test. Okay, let's see. ඔයා මොකද කරන්නේ? මුලින්ම glucose solution එකක් ගන්න. Right, let's say this is my glucose solution. Now listen very carefully ළමයි. මම ඔයගලන්ට වීඩියෝ එකකුත් පෙන්නන්න කියන්නේ if we have time during the class I will show you a video from YouTube, and if we don't have time I will send the link of that video, then you can watch it later. Okay, so හැබැයි එහෙම වීඩියෝ එක නැතත් මුලින්ම මම මේ කියන ඔක්කොම ටික you visualize in your head, imagine everything. I'm going to take a solution of glucose. Okay, solution of glucose කියන්නේ water glucose වල mix කරලා, sorry, glucose water wala mix karla. This is a glucose solution. මම මොකද කරන්නේ? මෙන්න මේ glucose solution එක අරගෙන මම ඒකට දානවා a few drops of Benedict solution. There is a solution in lab lamai, it's called Benedict solution. ඒක blue color solution එකක්. A Benedict කියන solution එකේ මම few drops දානවා. Benedict solution, few drops. Few drops. So since Benedict solution is blue color, our solution will now appear slightly blue. අපේ solution එකේ තොර පොඩි blue color එකක් එනවා because earlier I only had the glucose solution. Now I added some like a few drops of Benedict solution. Benedict is blue color, so now my solution is blue color. Okay. Then මම මොකද කරන්නේ? මගේ මේ solution එක අරගෙන I'm gonna heat it using a water bath. What does that mean? Wait. මම මගේ මේ solution එක අරගෙන I'm going to heat it using a water bath. Water bath කියන්නේ මම ලොකු beak එකක් වගේ එකක් අරගන්නවා and I'm going to fill this with water. Fill කරලා ඒක ඇතුළට තමයි මගේ මේ solution එක immerse කරන්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ මගේ test tube එක. This tube I'm going to immerse it to this solution and then මම මෙහෙම රත් කරනවා. Using a Bunsen burner. Bunsen burner කියන්නේ lab එකේ තියෙන flame එක. ඒ කියන්නේ ළමයි this is the Bunsen burner. ඒ කියන්නේ ළමයි මම කෙලින්ම මේ solution එකට flame එක අල්ලන්නේ නැහැ. I don't directly hold flame under my glucose solution with Benedict. I'm going to immerse it in a bath of water, a water bath කියන්නේ beak එකකට හරි මොකට හරි වතුර ටිකක් පුරවලා. I'm going to immerse it in a water bath and what I'm going to heat is the water. ඒතර මේ heat එක water වලට ගිහිල්ලා water වලින් තමයි මගේ solution එකට යන්නේ. නැතුව directly මෙහෙම heat කරන්නේ නැහැ. Okay? So this is my water bath. This is the water bath. And this is a Bunsen burner. Then මම මේක heat කරනවා. Right? බලමු heat කරාම මොකද වෙන්නේ කියලා. දැන් මට initially තියෙන blue color solution එකක් නේ ළමයිනේ. So initially I have a blue color solution. Now I'm going to heat it using a water bath. මම පොඩ බලනවා මේ මොනවද වෙන changes කියලා. Initially මෙයා blue color නේ. මෙයා චුට්ට green color වලට හැරෙන්න පටන් ගන්නවා. This slowly turns to green color. Okay. And then I'm going to watch it for some more time. තව ටිකක් රත් කරනවා water bath එකේ. තව ටිකක් රත් කරද්දී මෙයාගේ green එක චුට්ට අඩු වෙලා මෙයා ටිකක් green yellow වගේ, like a mix of both green and yellow. So like a green yellow color. ඔන්න වගේ color shade එකකට එනවා. Then I keep heating. When I keep heating it turns to an orange color. When I keep heating it turns to an orange color. Like this. And I keep heating. තවත් heat කරද්දී ළමයි මෙයාට මොකද වෙන්නේ? මේ solution එකේ red color තනින් තන නිකන් You can see, oops, I'm sorry, wait. You can see a red color everywhere. Solution එක තියෙනවා තනින් තන මෙහෙම red color solid වගේ හැදිලා තියෙනවා. Red කියන්නේ this is like this brick red color. අර ගඩොල් වල තියෙන red color එක. අන්න ඒ වගේ red color එකෙන් solid වගේ හැදිලා තියෙනවා. මෙන්න මේ color change එක තමයි ඔයාට පේන්නේ. Okay? ඔන්න මම මුලින්ම explain කරනවා අහගන්න everybody. දැන් කලින් හරියට ඔළුවට ගියපු නැති කට්ටිය ආය අහගන්න. Listen. I take a glucose solution. That means glucose dissolved in water. Glucose solution කියන්නේ glucose dissolved in water. So water doesn't have a color. Even when you mix glucose, it still doesn't have a color. So it's a colorless solution. මම එකට මොකද කරන්නේ? Benedict solution එකෙන් drops කීපයක් දානවා. Okay. Benedict solution is a solution in the lab. This is actually my blue color. So when I add a few drops of Benedict solution to my glucose solution also turns blue color. Okay. Then I immerse my test tube with this glucose solution in a water bath. මම එයාට directly flame එක අල්ලන්නේ නැතුව මම යාව water bath එකක immerse කරලා water bath එක තමයි රත් කරන්නේ. Okay. රත් කරද්දී මට මෙන්න මෙතන එක colors පේන්න පටන් ගන්නවා. Initially තියෙන blue color නේ. It will slowly turn to, initially it's blue color. It will slowly turn to green color. Then it will turn to a green-yellow color. Then it will turn to a green-yellow color. Then it will turn to an orange color. And finally, අර මං කිව්වේ red color වලින් solid වගේ හැදෙනවා. That red color is called brick red. ගඩොල් වල තියෙන red color එක. Brick red solid වගේ හැදෙන එකට අපි කියනවා precipitate කියලා. Brick red precipitate. So this is what happens in this particular test. මේ ටෙස්ට් එක කරලා ඔයාට solution එකක glucose තියනවද නැද්ද කියලා බලන්න පුළුවන්. දැන් මේකේ glucose තියෙන හින්දා තමයි ඔයාට මේ වගේ color change එකක් පෙන්වන්නේ. ඔයාට නිකන් මම randomly solution එකක් දීලා කියනවා check if there's glucose කියලා. Right, let's say මම කියනවා සඳරුට. සඳරු check if there's glucose here කියලා. So then Sandru has to do his entire test. Test එක කරලා බලන්න ඕනේ මේ color change එක පේනවද කියලා. මේ color change එක පෙනුනොත් that means that solution has glucose. ඒක සඳරු මට කියනවා මේකේ glucose තියෙනවා කියලා. හැබැයි මේ color change එක උනේ නැත්නම් ඒ කියන්නේ ඒකේ glucose නැහැ. Then Sandru will tell me there's no glucose here. Okay. So like that, this is the test that we use to identify if there is glucose in a particular solution. Is that clear to everybody? Aisha? Yes. Anika, Inuka, Alia, Anya, Kushit, Jevindu, Oanya, Sala, Sandaru, Sasheli, Shanaz, Shweta, Tisari, Yasit. Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody who has any questions? Prashant තියෙනවද කාට හරි? No. What is it, Kushit? I can't hear you that well. If you have a question, can you drop in the chat box, Kushit? Because I can't hear you well. Your line is breaking. All right. I guess then we are good to go. අපි මේක ලියලෙමු. Right? මේක ලියන්න කලින්. Write a topic. Test for glucose. Test for glucose. wait lamai. දැන්ම ලියන්න පටන් ගන්න එපා. Can you give me a little lead on? Give me a second. චුට්ටක් මම note එක organize කරගන්නකම් ඉන්න. මම කිව්වම ලියන්න පටන් ගන්න. Wait, don't start writing yet. Teacher. Yes, Alia.
I had a breakout, so I couldn't write the top ones.
Okay, no worries. I asked you not to write yet. Okay, I will complete it and then I will give you time to write.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Now start writing. Test for glucose. Point 1, glucose solution is obtained to a test tube. මෙන්න මෙහෙම පොඩි diagram එකක් අඳින්න. Then few drops of Benedict solution is added. You add a few drops. If you have like a blue color, I don't know, highlighter, hari, color pencil එකක් හරි මොකක්ද තියෙනවා නම් even better. But don't spend too much time on that. නැත්තම් නිකන් ලියන්න. Vertically ලියන්න බලන්න, then I will scroll down. When you draw it, it's more visual, right? ඒතර ඔයගලන් textbook හිතන්න term test එක ඉටු වෙලා මෙහෙම flip කර කර බලනකොට ටට්ටක් ගාලා ඔලුවට යනවා. Because වචන නෙවෙයි තියෙන diagrams තියෙන. Then it's easy to comprehend. That's why I thought of drawing this. Okay, quickly write this. Yeah. Third sentence is right. Shall I scroll it down a bit? පළවෙනි එක ඉවරයි තිනේ ඔයගලන්නේ. Okay. I scrolled it down. I'll leave it like this for 2 or 3 more minutes and then I will scroll for the rest. I will scroll down a bit more. Sayul, how about now? If it's still not working, ඔයාගේ screen එකෙන් ලොකු කරලා බලන්න. කියන්නේ ඔයගලගේ පැත්තෙන් zoom කරන්න පුළුවන් I think. Can you all try? I'm not very sure, but check if you can do it.
Ma'am, can you scroll down a bit, please?
Yeah. Okay. ඉන්න බලන්න. දැන් බලන්න සයුල් ඔයගලගේ පැත්තෙන් zoom කරගන්න පුළුවන්ද කියලා? Zoom in zoom out කරන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්න ඕනේ දැන්. Now try again. I changed something. Can? Now okay. No, okay. Board එක පේන්නේ නැති කවුරු ඉන්නවනම් ඔන්න මම link එක ආයෙමත් share කරනවා චුට්ටක්. Okay. One more minute, huh? Okay, Raman. I think that's enough time. Anybody who needs more time? Okay, for sure. 2 more minutes then, nah? Okay, Lamai. Let's do the next test. This is the test for glucose now. Now we are going to do a test for sucrose. Let's do a test for sucrose. Sucrose, you know, now glucose was a monosaccharide now. Now sucrose is a disaccharide. Mom මොකද කරන්නේ අර කලින් වගේම ලියන්න එපා මොනා just listen just listen, don't write anything. I'm gonna obtain like මෙතන glucose solution එකක් ගත්තාගේ මෙතන sucrose solution එකක් ගන්න. Okay. Don't write, just listen. So sucrose කියන්නේ ළමයි ගොඩක් වෙලාවට you know sucrose is found in white sugar and brown sugar. So you can get like a sugar solution for this. Okay. මේ picture එකම ගන්නම්. ඒතර මම ආයෙමත් වෙනම මඳින්න ඕනේ නෑනේ. So I will get this one. ඔන්න මගේ sugar solution එක. That is also a transparent solution. You know how it is when you dissolve sugar in water. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a few drops of Benedict solution. Okay. අර glucose වලට කරා වගේමයි. Few drops of Benedict solution is added. Okay. Benedict solution එක add කරලා අර වගේම what I'm going to do is heat it using a water bath. මම ඒක draw කරන්න ඈ. So මෙන්න මේ වගේම glucose කරා වගේම sucrose වලත් මම solution එකක් අරගෙන I'm going to add a few drops of Benedict and then I'm going to heat it using a water bath. හැබැයි ළමයි මට මෙන්න මේ color change එක පේන්නේ නැහැ sucrose වල. හරිනම් එන්නේ නැතයි but එහෙම වෙන්නේ නැහැ. Okay. Glucose වල නම් I took a glucose solution, I added a few drops of Benedict solution and then I heated it using a water bath and I could see the color change. Blue to green, then green to green yellow, then to orange and then to a brick red precipitate. හැබැයි මෙතන තියෙන ප්‍රශ්න මොකක්ද? Here, even if I do that, I obtain a sucrose solution, I add a few drops of Benedict solution, and I heat it using a water bath, but I cannot see a color change. No color change is observed. හරිද? එහෙනම් මම මොකද කරන්නේ? I'm going to change my strategy. දැන් මම වෙනස් දෙයක් කරන්න යන්නේ. Okay, I'm going to start from the beginning again. I'm going to start from the beginning again and I'm going to get another sucrose solution. Another sucrose solution is obtained. And the කලින් එක අපිට පාවිච්චි කරන්න බෑ, so I'm going to get a new one. So this is my new one. Sucrose solution. Then මොකද කරන්න ළමයි? Before I add Benedict and heat it, මම මොකද කරන්නේ? I'm going to add a few drops of something called dilute sulfuric acid. Few drops of diluted sulfuric acid is added. So there is an acid. Acid is a chemical. Yeah? Sulfuric කියලා කියන්නේ H2SO4. කියලා chemical එකක් තියෙනවා lab එකේ. මම මොකද කරන්නේ? මගේ sucrose solution එකට අර chemical එකේ drops කීපයක් දානවා. So let me show it like this. So I'm going to add a few drops of sulfuric acid. I'm going to add a few drops of sulfuric acid. Then only I'm going to add the Benedict solution. Then few drops of Benedict solution is added. Sulfuric acid දාපු එකට තමයි මම Benedict solution එක දාන්නේ. Now I'm going to add a few drops of Benedict solution. I told you Benedict solution is naturally blue color. So as soon as you add Benedict, this solution will appear blue color, like this. Like this. Oh no, blue color because Benedict is blue in color. I'm going to heat it using a water bath. This is heated using a water bath. මෙන්න මෙයාව heat කරනවා water bath එකක් අරගෙන. Like this. Just like how we did for glucose. Directly flame එකට අල්ලන්නේ නැතුව water bath එකකින් තමයි රත් කරන්නේ. Now I don't touch the board, huh? This is my water bath. Now I'm going to see if I can observe the color change. Then baladi, a color change is observed. මෙතන ළමයි කලින් glucose වල දැක්ක වගේම color change එකක් වාට පේනවා. Right? You can see a color change just like you saw in glucose. මම ඒක ආයතාපාරක් explain කරන්න. ඔන්න බලන්න. From the beginning, let's see what we do. මුලින්ම I take a sucrose solution. I add a few drops of Benedict and I heat it using a water bath just like I did for glucose. And it did not work. Now what I do is I take another sucrose solution and before adding Benedict, I add a few drops of dilute sulfuric acid. It's a chemical in the lab. ඒකේ මම drops කීපයක් add කරලා then I add a few drops of Benedict solution. Since Benedict is blue, my solution will now appear blue. Then only I heat it using a water bath and then I can see this color change just like in glucose from blue to green yellow to orange and then to brick red precipitate. එතකොට glucose එකේ මේකේ කරපු එකම වෙනස තමයි මෙතන මම sulfuric acid දැම්මා. Okay, glucose එකේ හැම දාන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. Did you all understand this? Give me a thumbs up please. Others? Mindula, Shweta, Sala, Shanaz, Kushit, Inuka, Anika, Jevindu. One, okay. Tisari? මම නම් කීපයක් විතරයි කිව්වේ මම thumbs up දැක්ක නෑ වගේ අයගේ ඔක්කොම නම් කිව්වා. But if any of you want me to, if any of you didn't understand, let me know. Okay. I think then we can write. Wait, lamai. Okay. You can write now. ඉනුක sulfuric දාලා කරාට මේකේ ලොකුවට මුකුත් වෙනසක් වෙන්නේ අර විදිහටම color change එක පේනවා. Sulfuric will not do anything differently to glucose. But for sucrose it does something important, right? දැන් අපි ගත්ත glucose වල අතරම sulfuric දාන්න ඕනේ නැහැනේ. කෙලින්ම Benedict දාලා heat කරාම water bath එකේ you can see the color change. ඔයා මේකට sulfuric acid ටිකක් දැම්මත් කමක් නැහැ. දැම්මා කියලා කිසි වෙනසක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. It's the same thing. So no point in adding sulfuric acid to glucose. But in sucrose, we are going to add sulfuric acid. Okay, that's the difference there. Okay, you can start writing. Make it fast. Once you are done writing this part, I will scroll down. What is it, Kushit? What about the glucose part? We already wrote that, nahi?
Yeah.
Okay, so now you have to write the sucrose part. Test for sucrose ke liye mere ke liye aa gaya.
Where is it?
Hmm?
Where is it?
So initially we wrote test for glucose. So underneath, let's write this test for sucrose.
Beneath it.
Okay, nahi?
No. Not beneath.
Lama, I will scroll down a bit. Quickly write. I will scroll down a bit more. I'll give you like 3 minutes, 3-4 minutes, quickly finish.
Teacher, is sulfuric acid doesn't have a color?
No, sulfuric acid doesn't have a color. It's transparent, just like water. Okay. Okay. Quickly write. Done ළමයි? තව වෙලා ඕනද?
Done, teacher.
Okay. Others?
No.
Sashel is still doing? Okay, 2 more minutes. Done. Okay. All right. Then there are actually 3 tests on the carbohydrate. So we have already done 2 tests. Test for glucose and test for sucrose. My board can test for glucose, we did it, and test for sucrose, we did. Now we have to do something called the starch test. Make yapi balanne starch theory. When you're given a certain type of a food, you are going to see if there is starch. Okay. So when you get a food, okay, test if there's starch in this scale. Okay, so let's see how we are going to do this. First of all, whatever that food is, you are going to obtain a small amount. Small amount of the food is obtained. It is grinded well with water. Grind karna kya lamai? Ara ape gewal wala tiyene wangediyai mogahay. You know, I mean, almost all of you probably have a wangediya and a mogaha. Pura gewal wala tiyena. Okay. එතකොට ඒ වගේම එකක් තියෙනවා lab එකේ. It's called mortar and pestle. වංගෙඩිය මෝගහයි වගේම තමයි. Ceramic වලින් හදපු එකක් තියෙනවා lab එකේ. So whatever the food item you get, you are going to put that food item into the වංගෙඩිය. වංගෙඩිය කියන්නේ lab එකේ තියෙන එක. It's called mortar. And then you add a little bit of water and then you grind it well. Right? හොඳට වතුරත් එක්ක grind කරනවා. Grind කරලා ඒකෙන් චුට්ටක් අරගෙන a drop of iodine is added to this mixture. අර grind කළ හදාගත්ත mixture එකට iodine drop එකක් දානවා. දැම්මහම මොකද වෙන්නේ? ඒ iodine drop එක වැටිච්ච තැන it will appear like a purplish blue color. Purplish blue color appears. Okay? Listen again, whatever the food you get, hitana mogane pan like a piece of bread, or like some rice, or maybe some pasta, or like munahari kama. Then on the piti tika kari dena. Dila, I'm asking you to test if there is starch. So what you're going to do is you're going to put that particular food item into that wangediya thing I told you, right? It's called a mortar. Then you add some water and then you grind it very well. That's a grind karna. Then you take that mixture and you add a drop of iodine. Iodine can be a solution, a liquid. It's a solution, it's a liquid. So from that solution, you add a drop to this mixture. As soon as that drop falls onto the mixture, starch a drop purplish blue color. That is the test we do for starch. Okay, is that clear to all of you?
Miss, can you explain it again?
Yes. So here what we are going to do is we are going to take a small amount of food. Hitana, let's say a slice of bread maybe. Or like a little bit of rice. Hari munahari dena. I told you gewalala wangediya moga tiyena kela. E wage lab eketh tiyena. Hema wangediyak wage ekak. It's ceramic. So whatever the food you get, you are going to put it in here. And then you add a little bit of water. And then our mol gaha wage එක තියෙනවා. ඒකෙන් හොඳට grind කරනවා. The food you put it in, you add some water and then you grind it well. Grind means mix it very well. So mix karna. So thick paste එකක් වගේ mix කරනවා. Then you take that mixture and then in the lab bottle එකක තියෙනවා iodine කියලා solution එකක්. ඒ solution එකෙන් drop එකක් අරගෙන අර mixture එකට දානවා. Then a iodine drop එක වැටිච්ච තැන it will turn a purple blue color. If it turns purple blue color, we can confirm that there is starch present there. Okay, Jetuli?
Yeah, miss.
Okay. Others? All good? Okay. Then Lamai, let's start writing. Make it agal yagan. This is going to be our last bit of the day. මේක ලියා ගන්න. හැබැයි මේක ලියාගත්ත කියලා කවුරුත් Zoom එකෙන් යන්න එපා. First write this. Quickly write it. Make it fast. Yes, ළමයි, every week it's better if you send your note. දැන් ඔයගොල්ලන් දැන් ලියන note එකේ personal number එක නෙවෙයි, personal number කියන්නේ මම දැන් link එක Zoom link එකේ ඔක්කොම එවන number එක තියෙන අන්න ඒ number එක දාන්න. Personally තමයි. To that number send but I'm not going to force you ළමයි. මට හැම week එකෙම ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ පස්සෙන් එන්න බෑ note එක එවන්න කියලා. So that is something that you should do. Because obviously you would want your note to be corrected නේ. මගේ note එක හරිද කියලා බලා ගන්න ඕනේද? ඔයගන්ට උමනාවක් තියෙනවා නම් you have to send it. Okay? And I really would prefer if you send it to me. Because if you send, I will definitely check. Done? Okay. Anybody who needs more time? Okay, not done. All right. I'll give you some time. There's still some time left. So ලියන කට්ටිය ලියනකම් so අද නම් absent වෙච්ච අය ඔක්කොම මට කලින් inform කරා absent වෙනවා කියලා, which I really appreciate. That is how you should be, right? That is the level of decency I need in the class. So if you are getting absent, you should feel a certain level of responsibility towards me and you have to inform it to me. Okay? Class එක වෙලාවෙදී හරි මතක් වෙනවනේ දැන් class එක මට අද යන්න වෙන්නේ නැහැ. So then you have to inform. Just drop me a text that you won't be able to come, right? Then other thing is, if you're getting absent, I will send the recording. Inform කරන්න. එතකොට මම recording එක එවන්න. ඒ කියන්නේ මේ ළමයි මගෙන් විටින් විට අහපු ප්‍රශ්න. So note එක class එක ඉවරලා එවනවා නම් I would really prefer that. Then I will correct it for you. Then from this week onwards, I'm going to mark your attendance, right? So හැම week එකේ මම class එකට කවුද වෙලාවට I mean කවුද absent, කවුද පරක් වෙලා join වුනේ and කවුද කලින් leave වුනේ. මොකද පරක් වෙලා join වෙන අයටත් කොටසක් miss වෙනවා class එකේ. කලින් leave වෙන අයටත් කොටසක් miss වෙනවා class එකේ. That can't happen no. එතකොට මම attendance mark කරලා group එකේ දාන්න එකම හේතුව not to like absent වුණා නේද. I don't want to like point fingers at you or anything like that. මම එහෙම කරන්නේ ඕගලන්ටම awareness එකක් එන්න. Because certain weeks, because now I've been doing classes for so long, so I know that certain weeks you get absent, but you forget to request the recording from me. Hitannuko, let's say one of you got absent, let's say Sasheli got absent today, right? Then she might not remember to request the recording. Amataka වෙනවා, and it's kind of a normal thing. මොකද මටත් සමහරට අමතක වෙනවා උගන් recordings එවන්න. එතකොට හැබැයි මම group එකේ attendance දාලා තිබ්බම උගන්ට අගල මතක් වෙනවා. Okay, I was absent. නැත්නම් මම පරක් වෙලා join වුණා නේද? නැත්නම් මම කලින් leave වුණා නේද? එහෙනම් මම ටක් ගාලා recording එක ඉල්ල ගන්න ඕනේ. ඒ වගේ to like sort of bring an awareness. That's why I'm putting the attendance list. Then also there was something else that I wanted to tell you all. I can't remember. Yes, also one more thing, Lamai, I have gotten a few payments without a receipt. ඔයගොල්ලන් payment එකක් කරනවා නම් අනිවාර්ය receipt එකක් එවන්න. මොකද නැත්තම් මට reference එකක් නැහැනේ. Receipt එකක් නැතුව I will not acknowledge any payment. Okay? Because otherwise that is not the right way to do it. ඒක හින්දා if you are paying, when you are paying the class fee, make sure you send me the receipt. Then only I can acknowledge your payment. Class එකට register වෙච්ච හැමෝටම මම admission form එක එව්වා. Register වෙලා admission form එක ආපු නැති කවුරු ඉන්නවනම් මට චුට්ටක් කියන්න. Okay, WhatsApp එකේ දාන්න. And also class fees pay කරපු හැමෝටම මම payment slip එකකුත් එව්වා. Okay? That is all I think I have to tell you all. If there is anything else, I will put in the group. So before we end the class, is everything that we did today clear to all of you? Adda karapu හැම දෙයක්ම clearද? Alia, Jituli, Shanaz, you can just give me a thumbs up. Kushit, Sasheli, Shweta, Anika, Tisari, Anya, Inuka, Sayul, okay, Javindu, Pramudi, okay, Senudi, okay, Nikini, okay, Ovanya, Sala. All right. Then, Lamai, we will end the class for today. Next week, we are meeting on 16th, no? 16th of December, we are meeting. Until we meet next week, have a great week and see you. Good night, Lamai. Thank you.
Good night, teacher.
Okay, good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you, teacher. Good night.
Good night, teacher. Thank you, teacher.
Okay, you too.